Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races, such as the Daytona 24, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule, such as the Daytona 500. We have events from disciplines all across the racing world, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events utilize iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against every driver taking part. And as every race progresses, watch and feel the track change with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iracing.com/special-events.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
What a fantastic start to the season 2 weeks ago at Volusia Raceway Park. But now we're going to start getting into the meat of things. It's a multiple round championship, and round 2 can often set up what is to come for the rest of the year. This is round 2 of the ASRG Sprintcar Pro Invitational Series. It is the McSlide Race South Dakota Brawl from Huset Speedway. Go to sprintcarproseries.com.au for all relevant information. And stay right here on SimSpeed TV live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick to see what goes down in South Dakota. Bringing it to you live, it is myself, Reese Gardner, with Scott Rankin alongside me in the comms box. Jay Kennedy is behind the scenes, pressing all the buttons and bringing you these beautiful moving pictures. Gotta say, Scott, after the start to the season we had last round at Volusia, I'm very excited to see what Husets can bring. It's practically the polar opposite to Volusia, a much smaller, tighter track, but one of many we're going to this season.
Yeah, and that means that the throttle control is going to be massively important, but we're also going to see a little bit quicker of a track development as well. We're going to run a fair few more laps here tonight. This is going to be the second longest race of the season. Lanier is the only one that's going to be, oh, sorry, my apologies, third longest. Federated Auto Parts at I-55 is also longest. The third longest race of the season. Quite a few here at 40 laps in terms of distance. This one's got a lot of challenge to it as well. It's tricky, it's technical, little bit of banking support. You're going to see that dirt cushion build up towards the outside, but the big thing is with these race cars, tinier tracks, that you have to be a technician. You've got to be really, really precise. But I think more importantly than that, I'm actually getting keen for these races, not just for the racing anymore. Like, this is one of the best racing series in the country, in the global scene, bar none, because the action's so quick and fast. But the fans get to buy in along at home. All three of us, yet again, are buying into this fantasy league. I've never been a big fantasy league person, but I'm loving it. I literally get in here and I'm like, I want points from this guy. Here's the championship standings, Reese.
Absolutely. Tim Ryan taking victory in the A main at Volusia. He leads the championship by 4 points from Tanner Pettit. And it's a Tanner Pettit Racing 2-3 right now with Clayton Davies there as well. Look out for him when we get to the tracks in Pennsylvania where he says he's very strong. Ethan Foley has gotten his way into 4th place with Aiden Forster, rounding out your championship top 5. There are a few notable drivers who were very quick in the run-up to the feature at Volusia, missing from this top 10 though. It was a bit of a chaotic round 1 for some.
Yeah, tricky, and that's the big thing, isn't it? But we saw that last season as well, that it kind of didn't really lock in until probably halfway, 3/4 of the way through the series, and then all of a sudden the stronger drivers started to show their way to the fore. Forster was quick, really, really good to see something from him. Tanner Pettit really let us know what he's capable of, and a lot of talking, a lot of information coming into our ears about those sorts of guys. I was really impressed with the way Matthew Gowans actually put his results in last week. Vanderwacker will probably be a little bit disappointed. He thinks he probably could have had a little bit more speed. And the guy that's actually just off the bottom of this one, Tom Mitchell, I cannot tell you how excited and ecstatic he was, but then frustrated because he missed out on the top 10 by 1 spot. Yeah, look, the thing is, though, if he'd have got that top 10, we never would have had the end of it. So I'm kind of glad he didn't finish inside that top 10.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to go in a little bit more detail about this track, of course, in Brandon, South Dakota. It's had quite a long and interesting history. Been open since 1953, but it closed for 3 years. Reopened in 2020 and was added to iRacing shortly thereafter. It's only 3/8 of a mile, and that's 604 meters in length. So when we get to the live pictures to see the sprint cars going around here, you're going to be very surprised at how quickly they can actually complete a lap around here. It's a nice wide track, though. The winner in 2025 being Blake Walsh. We're going to be keeping a close eye on him tonight to see what he can do to back up his form from previous. But one big number that's jumping out to me is that one at the bottom there, Scott. 5 cautions in the A main last year. So the drivers are going to have to be careful of that coming out in times when they wouldn't be expecting.
Yeah, and single file laps as well, single file restarts. And I think, when we talk about Blake Walsh and his skill set, what is his skill set? So slicked out tracks where it gets right up against the fence. He was one of the only guys really able to make passes when the track's really slicked off. And just the skill level it takes to be at that level for that long is really, really high. Blake actually sent his apologies in, so he's actually not here tonight. So he can't go back to back in one of his strongest tracks, so that's a little bit disappointing for him. And actually, I just heard an old no because I'm pretty sure some of our comms box actually might have picked him.
Yeah, not ideal. See up the top of Jay Kennedy's list there, Blake Walsh. Clayton Davies, Daniel Boyd, Hayden Vickers, and Gary Redcliffe bringing up his the rest of his picks on SpeedwayDraft.com. And this is open for everybody to play for free on Speedway Draft. The teams basically close, or registrations close, right before the server goes live. I had a pretty good run last round, got to be honest, Scott.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what you and Jay can pull out.
Yeah, well, one of the guys who managed to win off the points is actually one of our drivers, and Nathan Vanderwacker actually has the most points out of all of our drafts. One of the drivers here tonight, and I actually don't think he picked himself, so that probably tells you enough that wasn't confident enough to pick himself last week, but he did pick Tim Ryan. There was a lot of talk about Tim Ryan and how quick he was going to be, particularly at the bigger tracks, but it's these bull ring tracks. This changes it up. What are we talking about when we talk about a bull ring? Shorter, sharper tracks. It requires a different driving style. You're going to see a lot more slide jobs. And the reason for that is the pack's going to be quite a lot closer together. And again, checking that momentum up. You've got to try and keep the momentum up at these shorter tracks. Run a shorter gear stack, allows the engines to spin up a lot more quickly. But at the same time, costing momentum, it's difficult to get that back. Short straightaways means that you're back in and trying to bite it again. If you lose a little bit of momentum in one corner, you're going to be struggling the whole way around. So it's tricky. Very, very short, sharp racing here tonight as well. We're probably not too far off of getting underway with our practice as well. But yeah, a lot of opportunity, I think, out here. This one's going to be about survival. Make your way into that feature. Walk your way through the heats. Make sure you get yourself started with those quick times as well. The big thing about the heats, though, tonight, if you set a quick time, you're the pole driver for your heat, you will not be starting off of the pole in your heat. You'll be starting P4. But with risk comes reward. Your quickest driver in your heat based upon the quick times, you drive your way from 4th all the way back up to win your heat. That means you get guaranteed best starting spot available. If you're the first heat of the night, that will be first. If you're the second heat of the night and somebody wins it ahead of you, it'll be second, and etc. That's the way that we'll walk our way down through it. So that's what we're going to be changing for tonight. Mixing it up gives us an opportunity to see different names at the front, different opportunities for different people. That's what this is all about. It's not the same guys at the front each and every week, and if you get shuffled back in the pack, you've got to work your way forward.
Yeah, and that's going to be tough to do for some at this particular circuit. You don't have much time to build up momentum for passes down the straights. It's these very short dirt ovals. They're almost like the Monaco of dirt. I suppose Chili Bowl would be the most apt comparison to Monaco. But tracks like this in powerful, fast sprint cars, you've got to commit to the move. You've got to make it stick. With the shortness of the straights, quite easy to mess up the exit and get your rival back up the inside of you again when it comes time for the next corner. And that's going to come way quicker than you think. So hopefully we'll be getting started very soon indeed for the Hot Laps and Practice presented by NBS 3D Printed RC and Slot Car Customs. I'm looking forward to this. There's a lot of unknowns coming into this season, but one thing that is known is that Tim Ryan is going to be the man to beat. Cars are emerging out onto the track now, and so we can get our action here from Huset Speedway started. Only 17 degrees Celsius track temperature. It's looking like reasonably cool conditions, and of course it is a completely clean track. Hasn't had a groove put into it just yet, but give it a few laps and we'll be right there.
But also an opportunity to see the first of the drivers out and on that racetrack as well. This is the big thing. Every little opportunity to bite down into that track, see how much moisture is there. Little bit of dust kicking up to start the night off, but not a whole heap. For the fans that are watching along at home, if you've not been a part of sprint car stuff before, there's a lot that is actually accounted for in this sort of stuff. Not only is the dirt, how the dirt moves around the racetrack, you'll see berms start to move their way, progress from the bottom of the racetrack, and slicker lines start to form. We call that a cushion. If a little bit of a berm, I come from the world of motocross. So to me, it's a berm. To dirt sprint car drivers, it's a cushion. And basically, it's a little bit of a lip on the top half of the track, and it helps wrap the car around. If you angle that car a little bit more down, you get a little bit more turn in it. The best way to try and pick up when that line's starting to move is keep your eyes on the outside wall. You'll see a little bit of a lip. That wall on the outside looks like it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter. That's the cushion building up next to it.
Indeed it is. And, well, one of the first drivers out in qualifying presented by SimRat Market is Harry Stewart, and he is our hard charger from the previous round presented by My Race Mats. Made up a fantastic amount of positions in the A main last round at Volusia. Maybe he'll be able to get slightly better starting position for this round. It's all going to depend on how the heats go, and first off, how qualifying goes. First times in, and have a look at that. A lap around Huset Speedway can be completed in just over 10 seconds. This is going to be a rapid session.
Yeah, and I just did some digging into last year and what Blake Walsh won this race from last year. It was the 410s last year as well. So competitive, we get a really good comparison of what the field looks like. Nick Mithen, I think he might have got the barrier there. That might have been a touch high. And look at him, just struggling for grip, struggling for stability. That might have been enough to get the lap together. Berkeley so far has been the guy who's managed to get out there, gets a 10.266 in terms of the early quick time. Wilson's looking for a lap. Bradley Oldfield's going to surge and send one to second place. Not quite able to make some time. Here comes the number 5 of Darcy Wilson. Is he going to be able to put a lap together? No, he will not. The Rat, Zach Rattray White, he'll be the next one in the number 17 for Eclipse Sim Sport. 590 on lap number 1. That's in the middle of the pack. Lap number 2 as he tries to light it up down the back straightaway. Not finding the bite that he wants. Couple swings at the wheel. 449 on lap number 2. Shuffles him into the middle of the pack early on.
Brady Baldwin gets his first lap time down, and it's good enough for P3 overall. 10.368, and he'll improve by 0.02 of a second to make a small improvement there. Jacob Freeman trying to get his first lap time down here in car number 18. And the first lap will be a 10.7, but it looks like, oh yeah, it took a couple of seconds for the time to come in. That will put himself P22. There's still yet more drivers to put times in. Lachlan Mead having a good run of it. His first lap putting him P10. And Nathan Vanderwacker going to P3 right away.
Yeah, Wacker finding some time in the McLaren Yemavets machine, the number 88. Can he find some more time on lap number 2? It will be a no-go for Nathan Vanderwacker. But in the meantime, Oldfield's lap looks good. See, it's up 5 so far. We're beating that 4 invert. Going to be Berkeley from Oldfield, Vanderwacker, Baldwin and Stewart. Kobe Noonan's been bumped to P2 in his heat. Here comes Rusty O'Neill. He's going to get his opportunity for the first time together. For the number 11 machine, down the back straightaway. A lot of angle, Reese. A lot of angle on that race car. He's going to line up. It's going to be lap number 2 for the 11.
Yeah, just look at how sideways they get in the corners here. They're approaching 90 degrees to the track direction at times, and the amount the drivers are wrenching the wheel around on these hot laps. You know, I love sprint cars because you can see what the driver is doing from trackside. Aiden Forster, very smooth on the way into the corner, but you see the way he's jerking and wrenching the wheel around. You need that in order to get the rotation. Tanner Pettit is going to put it into P4. Aiden Forster to P15 on his first lap. We'll see if his second one counts a little better. Speaking of Tanner Pettit Racing, Clayton Davies there as Forster has gone even faster. He's P1.
Kelly Carmen's gone to P2 as well. Tim Ryan is going to be 1,000th of a second slower as he slots into P3. Dying stages of the session, 6 seconds on the clock. Riley Jones in the 99 won't get lap number 2 in the books. Lap number 1's going to have to count. He's out of time. It's Forster to take the quick time.
Excellent job from Aiden Forster. It was a bit of a slow burn for him, but right at the very end of the session, he will get the overall quick time by 1/100th of a second over Kelly Carmen. Tim Ryan just another 1,000th back to round out your top 3. Then Joel Berkeley and Tanner Pettit will join them, I believe, in pole position for the heats, or at least would be pole position were it not for the special thing we're doing with the format. Pole sitters in the heats will be shuffled back to P4. So, time for the grid for the first heat. Aiden Forster has the faster time, but Clayton Davies is going to start outside front row there. Starting just behind them, we will have the run from Harry Stewart and Matthew Stables. And then just behind them, we have Lachlan Rogers rounding out the top 5 with Casey Hamilton starting alongside Daniel Boyd, Jacob Freeman, and Riley Jones. Our last drivers to take to the grid in the first heat. Jones with no time in qualifying.
Yeah, he missed the jump. He just got out on the racetrack a touch late. Daniel Boyd actually ran some NASCAR last night from the Rock at Rockingham. Managed to put a reasonable race run together and a P12 for him overall last night. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome, 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 race fans, to the next slide race, Huset Speedway for tonight. 5 heats, 5, count them, Reese, 10 laps in total from each. No cautions in the heats. You put it on pole in the heat, you'll be starting from P4. Win your heat, that is as high up the grid as you can possibly start. From heat number 1, if Aiden Forster can stick it together, he is going to be starting off a pole.
And that is correct. Pace truck moves away, and there's Aiden Forster moving over to take that 4th place start. That will ultimately result in a lot of shuffling around, as that's going to be Clayton Davies starting on pole officially with Harry Stewart alongside him on the front row. Now, 2 formation laps here to bring us round to the start of the first heat, and the heats are only 10 laps in length. Considering that a lap time around Huset's is just over 10 seconds, these heats are going to be done within 2 minutes, maybe spare another 20 seconds or so from that. So it's going to be some quick fire action.
Yeah, that it is, and getting ready for the first race of the night. Race fans joining us for the first time, hello from Australia. Aiden Forster, the multiple-time iRacing Pro Series winner. He's going to be out here and rolling off a P4. Sets the quick time with some work to do. Teammate Clayton Davies is going to be on the inside of the front row. So he will set the launch for the first heat of the night. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Line them up from Huset. And we're off into turn 1.
Yeah, that's a great start from Clayton Davies. Harry Stewart continuing to pressure him there, but Matthew Stables working his way nicely in P3. The high line hasn't really come in yet. It looks like Aiden Forster and Casey Hamilton are trying to make it work, and it is giving them some momentum on the straights, but right now, when the track is still reasonably fresh, I think down low is where you want to be.
Yeah, a lot of bite at the bottom of the turns at the moment. Forster's going to try ripping the high side up and towards the fence, trying to create some momentum. Matthew Stables just ahead of him, so Clayton Davies gets elevated to P1 in the heat, and at the moment he's leading the heat to completion. Now there's going to be an opportunity for Forster to swap back over, get to the bottom side. We might be starting to see a little bit of track development. Stables versus Forster for P3, P4. Matty Stables, strong run last time out. Looking to transition that in week 2 as well. And don't forget, ladies and gents, not just this week, we go back to back in terms of weeks. We'll be back again next week as well.
That we will. It's a very quick turnaround for the next round of the season. Stables is doing well to keep Aiden Forster behind. I've noticed every couple of laps, Forster is running a slightly higher line to try and get momentum, and he's trying that again here, but Stables has gone wide himself. Leaves the room open for the American to move his way through. Number 20 up to P3. Only 2 laps to go, though, with Clayton Davies and Harry Stewart still together at the front. I don't know if Forster's going to get back up to them.
No, he's going to run out of time. Down into 3 and 4 to see the white flag. There'll be one more lap left to go. Clayton Davies gets elevated from P2 to the pole for heat number 1 of the night. And he is going to take all 10 laps on the way to heat number 1 victory. The number 10 gets it done.
Lovely stuff from Clayton Davies. He has immediately stamped his authority on the field here. But how he matches up against everyone else when the A-main eventually comes around remains to be seen. So, transferring through to the A-main, Clayton Davies, Harry Stewart, Aiden Forster, and Matthew Stables. Very stable race from him. Lachlan Rogers will finish P5 with Casey Hamilton, Jacob Freeman, Riley Jones, and Daniel Boyd all seeing the finish. But they will have to work their way through the alphabet later on. The C and B mains coming up later. Now, it's time for Heat 2. And it's going to be Kelly Carmen who has the quick time for this one, but Bradley Oldfield will be the one starting on pole position. Ethan Foley will join him on the front row, with Darcy Walker then sharing row 2 with Kelly Carmen. Zach Rattray White starts P5 alongside Bailey Leeson, and then Cole Ferguson has P7. He's got alongside John Schultz. Last car on the grid, Nick Mithen. Once again, no qualifying time from the last starting driver.
He'll roll off from the rear end of the field. A little bit of work to do for the man up sim racing driver on board, the number 44. The big thing though, Reese, a lot of laps, a lot of opportunity, and Huset's, well, that bottom line seemed to be where you wanted to go to start the night off, but as that heat progressed, everyone moved up the track, I think was the big thing. In heat number 2, it could be enough that it starts to transition to the middle and not all the way to the bottom. I'm seeing a very slick groove down the bottom of the racetrack. Could be we're starting to eat into some of that moisture as well, starting to dry off, and it's going to not offer what you need. But throttle control, always going to be the big one. Cannot turn a sprint car without a little bit of stab from the right foot. It's handiwork and right foot that's going to make the master or the fool of you tonight.
Very true, and I think it's these short, sharp tracks like Huset's that really display who is the best at controlling a sprint car at those speeds and getting that rotation, because you need it in order to even get around the circuit in the first place. When we were on that static shot just before, I noticed the berm on the inside. That's going to be a big factor in the racing here today. That's basically the entry lane into pit lane, but it's a raised inside of the corner. If you're going to be going for a move, trying a slider, you don't want to hit that berm on your way in, because that will completely send you up into the wall.
Yeah, sort of narrows the racetrack just a little bit. Here we go. Heat number 2. Carmen back to 4th. It's going to be on the 51 machine and Bradley Oldfield to lead us to the green. Here we go. Heat number 2 of the night. And the Huset's Brawl gets underway once more. Both of the 51 machines in this one, and Darcy Walker and Bradley Oldfield. Oldfield got a good jump, gets away nice and early. Foley's going to try and chase him down to start things off. Darcy Walker and Kelly Carmen still fighting over 4th and 5th. Rattray White's got some work to do if he wants to qualify tonight.
Yeah, a lot of work to do, but the amount these guys are running side by side should be a good opportunity for Zach Rattray White. Darcy Walker was sliding around a bit on the initial start, and Kelly Carmen almost got back past him, but he's gotten some good rhythm on board with Rattray White. You can see how much the wheels are working here, just desperately trying to get some kind of line going down the bottom, but he has ended up losing a spot there. That's Bailey Leeson that's gotten past him, so the inside line, the extreme low end of the track, is not where you want to be. Bradley Oldfield and Ethan Foley, meanwhile, going at it for the lead. The slider from Foley is further back. Kelly Carmen's in trouble, 3 wide, and into the wall goes Bailey Leeson, and is going to take Cole Ferguson with him.
Oh, it's still into the fence and still going on with it. Rattray White's just given the right rear to Kelly Carmen. It's on for that 4th and 5th slot. Back up to the front. Ethan Foley's starting to throw it on with Bradley Oldfield trying the slider, but it was coming off by the 51 machine. Here they all come through. They're all over the track, bouncing, beaten. Panel's gone, tires gone, heat's done. Carmen's still rolling, still in P4. How does he do it? Walker through to first place. Why don't you?
Fantastic avoidance there from Darcy Walker. He absolutely Bradburyed it as he's going to start the final lap here. Bradley Oldfield is still in the running here to potentially take the win on the track, but Kelly Carmen has recovered and is safe in P4 for now. Checkered flag is out, and Darcy Walker is going to win that one. My goodness, an explosive second heat here at Huset Speedway, and I think a few drivers are going to be very unhappy with proceedings there. It's Walker, Oldfield, Mithen, and Carmen who will transfer through to the A main. Rattray White getting back into P5, and the last car to see the checkered flag. Ethan Foley, Bailey Leeson, Cole Ferguson, and John Schultz were not able to make it to the end, and Ethan Foley getting the black flag for his part in those incidents. Not ideal at all, but it's time now for heat number 3. Tim Ryan's going to be starting P4. Pole position for this one will go to Nathan van der Wacker, and he's going to be joined on the front row by Kobe Noonan. Hamish Canestrari is going to start P3, and we'll share that second row with Tim Ryan. Then it's Ayrton Smith from New Zealand. He's going to be taking 5th spot alongside Hadley Boyce, another Kiwi, with Nash Granger and Henry Fenson on your 4th row. Once again, it seems drivers are making a habit of this. No qualifying time from Ethan Bastian. So we'll be seeing what he can do when the pace gets to race level. But this is quite the opportunity now for the likes of van der Wacker and Noonan. Can they keep Tim Ryan behind?
Yep, van der Wacker would love an opportunity to stick the 88 straight through into that feature. But if there's anyone that's going to potentially have a chance, that track is just starting to develop. Being on the outside, I think the big thing is you nearly want to be 5th, not 4th on these jinked starts. I would be saying 5th place, because at the moment with the track state in the heats, that outside groove is just taking so long to build into the race. Either way, van der Wacker is going to have control of the field from the inside of the front row. To his outside is going to be Kobe Noonan. Canestrari's got something there that'll give him an opportunity to have a go at this one. Noonan on the high side, the 88 machine, a Wacker on the inside. We will go green for heat number 3. Here we go, boys.
Oh, Kobe Noonan almost getting into the wall in turn 1 there. That was a slightly messy start, but he's geared it up very nicely. And he might go for the inside there on van der Wacker on the exit. Tim Ryan still side by side with Hamish Canestrari, but Canestrari is not able to get the momentum out of the corners. That tight exit is not where you want to be. They're 2 by 2 by 2 for third on back, and there's contact between Canestrari and Ryan, and it looks like another driver getting involved in that as well. I think that might have been Ayrton Smith.
Yeah, it's going to be Smith and Canestrari. Neither of them going to make the end of the heat. So race control will have an opportunity to have a look at that one. In the meantime, van der Wacker jumps clear with a teammate. Kobe Noonan, so it's going to be the two Vortex drivers out front. Tim Ryan's looking to try and follow them through if he possibly can. Has he got any speed or anything to do with this one? Granger and Bastion are going to throw sliders at each other for 4th and 5th. The 5 machine of Granger up against that 54 of Bastion. These two are going to continue to throw it at each other to the end of the heat. And have a look at how close to the fence the sparks are going to fly from Huset's.
Looks like Ethan Bastion is actually making that outside line work very well. We didn't see anything from him in practice or qualifying, so this is the first read we're getting on his pace, and he is looking good at the moment, keeping Nash Granger behind, and by some way, I think Hadley Boyce might start putting some pressure on Granger for P5. Battle for the lead is going on very nicely as well. Kobe Noonan might be losing a bit of time to Tim Ryan in the interim here, but Nathan Vanderwacker is still managing to run 10-second lap times at the front of the field as the white flag comes out. And, well, short of some massive lunge, I don't think we're going to be seeing much change for our top 3 here. Vanderwacker puts the 88 into P1 there with Noonan and Ryan, your podium. A fine drive from Ethan Bastion to get P4 in the end. And we'll wait to see if there are any black flags applied for any incidents in the race. But it seems like Ayrton Smith and Hamish Canestrari unable to get to the finish in any case. The rest of your field rounded out by Granger, Boyce, and Fenson, who saw the checkered flag. Half a second in it for the win. Will it be any closer here for heat number 4? We'll be keeping an eye on Joel Berkeley for sure, as he'll be the one starting in P4 for this one. It's going to be our series admin, Brady Baldwin, who will take the pole position from this one. He'll be joined on the front row by Matthew Gowans, and then Lachlan Mead will share row 2 with Joel Berkeley. Starting out of P5, Dan Grimshaw has got Paul Bryan for Man Up Sim Racing alongside him. 8 cars for this heat. It's going to be Gary Redcliffe and Aston Hurley on your final row. The first heat, worth pointing out, where we saw all drivers setting a qualifying time.
Yeah. The big thing is Brady Baldwin brought this format to us. He's the beneficiary of getting pole in this heat. So, look, I'm not going to say that Brady's out here to steal the pole position, but he's definitely on pole position.
You just said that.
No. He's on pole position, but he's not trying to steal it. He's out here and he's on pole position. I think there'll be a few questions sent to his DMs. Brady Baldwin's had an issue. He's in the middle of administrating the series, so he's actually not going to take pole here, and the reason for it is the series admins. Normally Brady's got an admin team that works with him. Unfortunately, for some reason, they've not been able to get into the server tonight. Brady's the only one with administrative powers, which means he basically just has to forfeit because adminning the series comes first. So he covered himself off. He covered himself off there.
That he did. It must have all been part of a grand plan. Regardless, commiserations to Brady. He will not be getting the points tonight. It's a shame because he is quite a quick man himself, but there is going to still be Matthew Gowans and Lachlan Mead on the front row. Bit of a slight promotion for our top 4 there, but Joel Berkeley will have Dan Grimshaw for company on the second row. Keeping an eye out for the green flag as we get ready for heat number 3. And I'm seeing a bit more of the slick start to move up this racetrack. I reckon now is the time that we're going to start seeing the high line really work. But that's going to be Matthew Gowans taking the green and getting off to a great start. Dive up the inside at turn 1 there from Paul Bryan, almost taking the rest of the top 3 out, but the space is there and he is making it work, slotting into P3 as Dan Grimshaw tries to keep him behind, and they're all making up time. Contact further back, meanwhile, Aston Hurley with a spin, and that's involved Berkeley.
Yeah, so Berkeley's gone from having pole position coming out of qualifying to he's all the way back in 6th spot at the moment. He is literally relying on drama to get the early spot out of the heat. So it's going to be a couple drivers back to pit lane and some work to do. Hurley backing in. His heat is now done, but now it's going to be on for Grimshaw and Paul Bryan for 2nd and 3rd at this point in time. Absolutely trying to send it at the moment. And they're having a go at each other. The 75 of Grimshaw has the place, but Bryan wants a piece.
That he does. Matthew Gowans has a super close fight on his hands, and Joel Berkeley might get involved in this. He's going to go a lap down almost, but what do you do if you're the leader? There's not really any blue flags in oval racing, let alone dirt oval. You got to rely on drivers to keep their eyes out for each other. Joel Berkeley will slot back in behind our leaders there. 3 laps to go across the line, and it seems like Dan Grimshaw is keeping Matthew Gowans very close company here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to take the win.
Yeah, he's trying to track him back down on board the 75, but Gowans has looked nice and clean and clear. 2 to go, back as they get to the stripe, but Huset's down through 1 and 2. Lines it up on that top. All of a sudden, track's starting to narrow out. Slick's starting to appear. And the heats are starting to wear this racetrack down. White flag in the air. One more time by for Matthew Gowans. Would love a heat win here in the 2026 Sprintcar Pro Invitational. He's going to get a heat win from Huset. Grimshaw not able to do it on the bottom for 3rd and 4th. Sorry, it was Paul Bryan and Berkeley nearly got into each other. Lachlan Mead grabs the transfer.
That he does. Lovely stuff. And that's going to be our top 5 finishing on the lead lap, with Aston Hurley getting the black flag for his part and causing that incident with Berkeley. He'll be classified 8th in the heat. It's Gowans, Grimshaw, Bryan and Mead, as Scott said, which transfer through to the feature. And then Redcliffe and Berkeley, our last finishers. Baldwin, of course, not taking to the start. Well, 1 more heat to go, and this one is pretty stacked. Tanner Pettit has the quick time, but Riley Hutchison will be the one on pole. Trent Gosley, he's had some poor luck in the past, but maybe this is where it's going to turn around for the Middle Finger Racing number 4. He will share that 2nd row with Tanner Pettit. Rusty O'Neill is going to actually share that 2nd row, my apologies, with Darcy Wilson and Craig Dunn in 5th and 6th. And the final row will be Hayden Vickers and Paul Ward. Again, another 8-car heat, so 1 less car to cause drama, but we're certainly not short on drama so far.
Yeah, that's as the heats normally are. They have enough drama without throwing a mixed-up grid format into the middle of it, but this is just providing something else. Final heat of the night, final opportunity. 4 starts tonight. Every single time the car that had pole in the heat from Huset's has struggled to transfer. They've been able to get out by and large, but that 4th spot is just a big, big risk. It's nearly been a better factor to not qualify on pole for your heat. Work to do. If anyone's going to be able to get it done, Tanner Pettit from the outside of row 2. This could be his opportunity. The speed on this track, Reese, has moved to that high side. It could be time for the outside to become the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, but that does open you up to sliders on the way into the corner. Gonna have to be careful how you conduct that. Well, these heats presented, of course, by Mono Creative. Fantastic roster of sponsors we have for this season, and they're certainly getting their money's worth with the action that we're seeing here. An early start from Riley Hutchison as the green flag flies for the final heat, and he's gotten away to a really good lead for the moment. Bit of a slide down further from Trent Gosley, but he's going to maintain 2nd place for the moment. Lovely drive out of the corners for the moment, but it looks like that outside line is coming into it. Tanner Pettit working hard to make the top work.
Yeah, he's managed to stick that nose in 3 wide. He's looking for a little bit of momentum. Gosley had to cut with the bottom side of the racetrack. Rusty O'Neill got down there, couldn't quite find momentum. Now Gosley's got too much angle on the race car. They're going to tangle for 3rd and 4th. Front wing off of Gosley is gone. It's out of here. Rusty O'Neill through to P3. Here comes Pettit.
What has Trent Gosley done to deserve this kind of bad luck? Was he was he evil in a previous life or something? I'm not sure, but he had no fault in that incident as far as I could see. And it'll be some hard work for him to do from here on out. But Pettit has managed to maintain the lead for the moment. He'll be getting his best possible starting position for the A-Main as a result. But it is on for 2nd on back. Riley Hutchison continuing to hold on to 2nd place, but Rusty O'Neill is giving him one heck of a race here, now with 4 laps remaining.
Well, the big thing is Tanner Pettit to the lead. He could get the automatic pole for the feature tonight. Huset's tough to tame, bullring, and we could finally be seeing a driver get their way through and lock themselves onto that front row. Riley Hutchison is trying to do something, anything he possibly can. Might be some damage on board car number 11 after the contact as well. We get down to the final 2 laps of the heat, and it looks like Pettit's just about got it locked up.
Oh, you're on board with Paul Ward as the leaders try to negotiate lapped cars. Ward's going to cut down to the inside there to get the run on Darcy Wilson. It's the final lap, though, and Hutchison has gotten into the wall. Hutchison's in the wall, and he has lost his spot on the podium. He's going to fall outside the top 4. Oh, no, on the final lap. The worst time to make that kind of mistake. Riley Hutchison was in the transfer, but now there is nothing he'll be able to do about that. Tanner Pettit taking the win in the final heat by 1.7 seconds over Rusty O'Neill. Darcy Wilson and Paul Ward will move straight through to the A main. Hutchison will be kicking himself for that mistake. Last finisher on the lead lap, with Craig Dunn making a wingless sprint car to the end of the race there. Hayden Vickers and Trent Gosley 3 laps and 7 laps down respectively, and commiserations must certainly go to Gosley for that. But that will be the end of the heats here, and my goodness, we are set up for quite the interesting C main here, with Henry Fenson starting on pole position for it. Brady Baldwin going to start alongside him for it, with Hayden Vickers and Riley Jones row number 2. Cole Ferguson has P5 starting alongside Ayrton Smith. We have Aston Hurley and Trent Gosley on row number 4. 11 cars in this one, with Daniel Boyd and John Schultz on row 5. Hamish Canestrari 11th and last for the C main, presented by Wimmera Dry Cleaners. Scott, I'm excited. There's a lot of potential for redemption from many of these drivers in this field.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is that we talk about the heats in this series, and a lot of it does work towards shaking a lot of these guys up. But the big thing is the fact that how many guys have failed to transfer out of their heat, or, there's been a lot of chaos here at Huset tonight. That was a big feature last year when we talked about the field up and down. Was that a lot of drivers struggled at different points throughout the season to get it done. Well, we're starting to see that early on in the championship. We saw a lot of the guys who were quick and pretty consistent be right at the point last week. This week, not necessarily going to be the same. We're still getting some of those fields shuffled up as we try and get them into order, because there's some penalties at the tail end of the field.
Yep, Vickers and Hurley given end-of-line penalties for the incidents in their heats. But at the conclusion of the first formation lap, it looks like that's all been sorted. Fenson is new to sprint cars. This is the first time I've seen him this season attempting a dirt oval league, and he certainly made a pretty good name for himself so far. Now he'll have it all to play for ahead of him, with unfortunately the number 99 of Riley Jones going to give him quite the race here as the pace truck comes in, and Fenson leads us away. Green flag in the C main, and that's a pretty good start from Fenson. Cole Ferguson behind, though, keeping it nice and stable, moving up into second spot as Riley Jones starts to fall back. Ayrton Smith up the inside of the both of them, and the lead compresses.
Yeah, how was Henry Fenson getting 2 tyres up and into the air as he bounced over that berm at the bottom end of the racetrack? Pit lane entry is already starting to play its part. They're looking for any kind of grip they can find at the bottom of the racetrack. Contact for the race lead. 3 of them get into it. It changed back through the pack, and the C main has been cast right into the drama along the middle of it. Can they get that race car going? No, done for the day. Fenson back to the lead. Riley Jones to his outside. Ferguson coming through for P3.
Oh, looks like we've just lost John Schultz as well, and well, that's really tough for a lot of these drivers. Big berms starting to form, huge bumps and ruts on the entries to some of these corners as Fenson and Jones continue to fight for the lead. Vickers has just gotten up into the wall. He's going to become the 3rd driver to retire from that. There he is. They just went by him there. Now Cole Ferguson and Daniel Boyd will keep fighting here over P3 and P4, but it appears that Ferguson is missing his front wing. That's not ideal at such a rotation-dependent track as this.
Yeah, and the big key is that's keeping the front end of the race car on the ground. He's just got to try and fight through it. Make sure that he can try and transfer. Boyd's managed to grab the spot. This is on the line for whether or not your night is done. Top 4 will advance. Everyone else is home, hosed, and out of here. Ayrton Smith trying to find some speed. Aston Hurley coming back at him. We are now halfway through this one as we start lap number 9. They're starting to make some time. Ferguson was a touch quicker than Ayrton Smith on that last lap, but now he can't control it. Not quite the grip he was hoping for. Smith makes a mistake, and Hurley's arrived on the scene.
And he has. This is potential for Aston Hurley to get into the top 4. And don't forget, the top 4 from the C main go through to the B main. So it's really important to get into that top 4. Cole Ferguson is walking wounded right now. Hurley and Smith have a lot of potential to move past him here. But, a little boxed in. They're both going to come together. And into the wall for the both of them. Ferguson, I think, is home free now.
Yeah, he might just be, but the two cars up, over, and out of here as they rode the catch fence on the outside of the racetrack. Back to the lead, 099. Riley Jones and the man up Sim Racing Machine is trying to keep Henrik Fenson from taking the win in the C main here tonight. 2 more laps left to run, becomes 1.5 as they head to 3 and 4. Jones to the top side, Fenson to the inside. Fenson can't stay alongside. Jones needs to rip the fence, make it count, make a C main win. Fenson found speed on the bottom. Final corner of the C main. Who's going to be able to take this one? Dragging to the line. Jones gets it.
Oh my goodness, only 100th of a second in it between those guys, and or just under a 10th, my apologies. Fenson was working the inside nicely, but I think he got a bit too far up on that berm down low, and it over-rotated the car. He couldn't quite get the run that Mr. Riley Jones could. Ultimately, 97 thousandths of a second is your gap for the win in the C main, with Daniel Boyd and Cole Ferguson transferring through into the B main with Jones and Fenson. Trent Gosley, last car to finish on the lead lap and P5 in the end. Unfortunately, that's going to be the end of Gosley's night. He was involved in the dramas at the back of the field that happened right in front of him, so he's going to miss out on getting into the A main once again. Retirements from Hurley, Smith, Vickers, Schultz, and Canestrari. And there's going to be a lot of drivers licking their wounds coming out of this round. Fortunately, only 7 days or so until their next opportunity. It's time for the B main now, presented by McSlide Race, and it's going to be Lachlan Rogers starting on pole with Zach Rattray White alongside him. The grid will continue with Nash Granger and Gary Redcliffe on row number 2. Riley Hutchison has Casey Hamilton for company on row number 3. In 7th place, Ethan Foley. He's looking to work his way up a little bit more now, recovering from his penalty, with Hadley Boyce starting alongside him. And then Joel Berkeley has Craig Dunn for company on row number 5. Then outside of the top 10, we have Jacob Freeman and Bailey Leeson. A lot of cars getting ready to take to the start for this one. Riley Jones and Henry Fenson, our top 2 from the B main on row number 7. And then 3rd and 4th in the B main, Boyd and Ferguson will round out the 16 cars getting ready to take the start here. What a race this is going to be, because we're continuing to increase those field numbers, Scott. The track's looking more cramped.
That it is. 20 laps, McSlide Race, B main, and after this one comes the redraw. It's going to be Zach Rattray White, Lachlan Rogers will get us underway. It's going to be on that front row. Off at the top, Gary Redcliffe went top to bottom as they got off a turn 4, nearly looking 2 to 3 wide through 1 and 2 for the first time in the B main here tonight. Looking to the middle of that racetrack as well is now the 85 machine of Redcliffe, makes contact, bends through left front. He's done for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Now there's going to be a ton of cars trying to fight their way through and stay without damage. Cars at the rear end of the field. I think Daniel Boyd has got a right rear that is pointing in all the wrong directions. What is Van der Wacker? Well, I thought I saw Noah. Sorry, my apologies. Joel Berkeley remembers in this one as well. Does not need to fight too much, but does need to make sure he gets to P4.
Unfortunately, Ferguson, Redcliffe and Boyce are now out of the race, so that's going to be the end of the night for Cole Ferguson. A rough start to the season for him. Joel Berkeley steadily working his way forward, now sitting P6 behind the battle between Hamilton, Granger and Hutchison. Side by side for 3rd place. Riley Hutchison is going to hold on to it. Up ahead of them, Lachlan Rogers and Zach Rattray White are continuing to come closer together, and Zach Rattray White has the fastest lap of the race so far. He's going for the inside. He's trying his best to work it for the lead of the race, but everyone is all over the racetrack just trying to find out where on earth the grip is.
Yeah, and that's the big thing at the moment. Berkeley's starting to get onto the back end of the top 4 as well. He's to the inside of Nash Granger now. And Casey Hamilton gets the job on Casey Hamilton. Done. Little bit of contact between those two guys. Moves up to the middle looking for some speed. Off the fence and a wheelie for Nash Granger. He found some bite up there, but it stuck the front wheels up and in the air. Now he's moved back towards the bottom end of the racetrack. Dusty Moisture's quickly going away from this place. Fence now for Joel Berkeley as he's trying to rip it, trying to qualify through, and halfway through the B main.
Yeah, this is important for Berkeley. He was runner-up last year at Huset by just 5,000ths of a second. He's got history at this place, and he needs to keep that history going here. He's managed to get some good rhythm round the outside, though, and he's officially classified in 4th ahead of Nash Granger at the end of the lap. I think he might have just cleared him there. Granger trying to work the low line, but it seems like it's getting slicker and slicker down there. Much more difficult now to hold on to the pace. Rattray White trying to go for the lead now on Lachlan Rogers, and to the inside there for the Eclipse machine, just a bit too much rotation.
Yeah, nearly got away from him, nearly made contact with that O2 machine of Rogers, who's on the outside. Rogers continuing to try and rip the fence. Rattray White's got to make do with what he can find on the bottom. No grip that time by. Into lap 13. There's only going to be 7 more to go at the end of that one. Time's starting to run out. Berkeley's managed to find his way not just into a transfer spot, but moves his way into P3 as well. So moves 1 spot further up into that A main and the feature points here tonight. Rattray White continuing to try and find speed on the bottom, but Rogers starting to find some turn on the top.
Yeah, looks like the track is looking very deceptive at the moment. You are trying to find grip up top, but you got to be careful of the wall jutting out in very specific places, and there's slick everywhere you're looking. It looks like we're going to be getting a track reset for the A main, back to a clean racetrack for the warm-up session, and Rattray White is starting to fall back ever further. Joel Berkeley has worked his way past Hutchison and now into P3. Could he go for a second in the B main? That would certainly help him get a couple more starting positions, but for the moment, 2 laps to go, and our top 3 are all together.
Yeah, that they are. Rattray White made a mistake. Got the fence a couple laps ago as well. Provides some opportunity for the number 9 of Berkeley. He starts to crawl his way into position. Here comes Hutchison in the background. Rogers makes a mistake now. Berkeley got it at the stride. There's 1 more lap to go in this heat. Fences Rattray White. No! In the fence! Rogers, no way! Berkeley and Rattray White get into each other. Hutchison's lurking. Who's going to win this one at the stride? Nothing in it. Berkeley from the top shelf.
Wow!
Wow! And Foley got in from the rear of the field. Remember, Ethan Foley got a penalty. He will transfer to the B main. That might be driver of the night. Driver of the night in the B main. No way.
Fantastic finish from Ethan Foley, but it comes at the expense of Lachlan Rogers, who had it in the bag but got into the wall on the final lap. Berkeley, Rattray White, Hutchison and Foley will transfer through to the final 4 spots on the A-main starting grid, and Rogers, Hamilton, Freeman, Leeson, Granger and Dunn all missing out. They're going to be going home. We'll be seeing no more of them until we go racing again next week. It's the same for Daniel Boyd, Henry Fenson and Riley Jones, our last finishers on the lead lap. Retirements from Cole Ferguson, Gary Redcliffe and Hadley Boyce, 3 drivers who we would have expected to be up there. Oh man, what a night so far. I mean, I feel like I say that every single round, but that's just the nature of this championship, Scott. There is action non-stop.
Oh, absolutely there is. And then we get ourselves over into the spinning wheel and the redraw. We're going to get ourselves a track reset. Brady Baldwin, unfortunately, admin issues here tonight for you, but it's been a little bit of a bang up in the heats. And the big thing is a little bit of a word to the drivers, because a lot of contact tonight. We want to level that down. We want to get ourselves a clean A main. What were the words said to the boys in the seats?
Yeah, just to tidy up a little bit, but that B main was a lot better. Track's very tricky. It's not the easiest track to get around the best of times. So, yeah, track reset here. It's going to be pretty fast for the first probably 15, 20, and then, you know, it's going to wind down and race pretty good. And just a quick note as well, because Tanner Pettit, he won his heat from P4, he'll automatically start pole for the feature, so we'll talk to him at the end. But I think we'll do the 6 to 10 redraw first and start with Clayton Davies, the first one. Are you ready to go, Jay?
Just working on a couple of things in the background before we can officially get things started here. But, oh boy, Now it's time to decide who's going to be starting from positions 6 through to 10 in the A main. Difficult job to do from that point in the field. Obviously, starting at the rear is often the worst case scenario, but at least when you're starting further back in the top 10, there's potential for something to happen in front of you. And with the fast pace of sprint car racing, it's going to be quite difficult to react to that in time. Let's see what Clayton Davies has to say about it. Clayton, we've had a pretty all right night so far up here in the comms box. How's it been behind the wheel?
That hasn't been too bad. I can't complain. I haven't had any time this week to do any laps, so to somehow lock myself into a direct transfer and into the feature, sorry, and to not be down the back of the buses, I'd call that a pretty big win.
Yeah, indeed. You're going to be up for drawing from positions 6 through to 10. So your options are basically outside 3rd row through to outside 5th row. And obviously, best case scenario would be a 6th, but it looks like it's going to be 9th for you. How are you feeling about that?
I can't be too complained. I'll just pace myself and hopefully the track will come to me.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, as it will for quite a few drivers in this session. Next up is Darcy Walker. Well, 9th place has already been taken by Clayton Davies. Are you thinking inside or outside start for this place?
Oh, probably the inside for me. Yeah, more comfortable inside.
Yeah, it gives you quite a good chance to get a run on someone coming into the first turn, but the spinning wheel will ultimately decide. You're looking for an even number. And, well, it looks like it's going to be 10th place for you outside 5th row.
Oh, we'll see how we go, I guess.
Yep, there are worse places to start from. Vander Wacker, next up. G'day, Nathan. I'll just repeat the same question I asked to Darcy. Would you prefer an inside or outside line start?
Honestly, I don't know. Probably an inside. The tracks will be pretty fresh. I don't know if we're going to do any warm-up laps here, sort of run the track in. But yeah, honestly, I'm happy to be up in the top 10. We had a shocking run in qualifying, so we sorted that out this week, and I'm just happy to be up here, really.
Well, you'll be happy to start P7. That is an inside line start, and, well, as far as inside starts go, that's the best case scenario.
I'll take that. Thanks very much, lads.
Nathan Vander Wacker securing P7 for this feature of round number 2. Next up, car number 75, Dan Grimshaw. And it looks like with only 2 more positions to decide, you're basically locked in to an outside line start, 8th or 6th. We'll have to see what happens.
Righto. 6th.
Let's see if you can manifest it. It's a 50-50 chance, and it looks like you got it.
Oh, look at that. Bonus. Thanks, guys.
Nicely done. Well, it's going to be Dan Grimshaw starting in P6, which means, Rusty O'Neill, you've got yourself an 8th place start for the A-Main.
Can't wait.
And neither can we. It's going to be quite the interesting A-Main to go through here. Let's start now for the top 5 starting positions, at least the top 5 behind Tanner Pettit, who is guaranteed a pole position start. Aiden Forster, one of the internationals that have flown in to Australia for this one. Looking like potential for a front row start for you here, but would you want to start at the front here?
Yeah, definitely. Track position is very important here at Huset, and even if we start a little ways back, I still have confidence in our car. We have a really good car, really confident with our speed around here, so it'd make our life a lot easier if we could start up front, but I'm not too concerned if we have to start a couple rows back. So we'll see what we get here, and hopefully have a good race.
Looks like it's going to be a 5th place start for you. So out of all of the chances that you had, you drew up the short straw, but still not at the end of the world. It's still going to be an inside line start, which a lot of drivers are feeling good about tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take a P5 start. We can definitely work with that. We'll get rolling here. Like I said, I have confidence in our car. Our car's really good. Tanner's got us a good piece for Huset's, and yeah, we're gonna get up on the wheel here.
Excellent stuff. Good luck in the A-Main, Aiden Forster. And now, Kelly Carmen, will join us for this one. Your choices are 2nd, 3rd, and 4th out of this one. Only one inside line spot to go, and we'll wait to see what the spinning wheel says for this one. You'll be hoping that it comes up like green, but missing out on a front row start by a few pixels, Kelly.
Yeah, nah, I'm still happy with the 2nd row start. That's up front. Should be, just need to keep my nose clean and, yeah, just run my race.
Yeah, it seems to be the move that a lot of drivers are going for here. The winner of the A main last round, Tim Ryan, championship leader coming into round 2. You have potential for a front row here, 50-50, 2nd or 3rd. Do you want the front row start, or do you want the inside line for the start?
I'm just grateful I'm in the top 3.
Fair enough.
That's better than last week. No, it'll be an interesting race, actually. I think it'll be quite hard to pass. I think Tanner off the front will be, hard to beat, to be honest.
Well, from 3rd place, you'll be starting directly behind Tanner Pettit. So best of luck, Tim. We'll see what you can do from there.
Cheers, race.
Tim Ryan will secure 3rd place, and with only one spot left to fill, that's going to be a front row for you, Matthew Gowans. Must be feeling good.
Oh, yes. I'll take that. Lady luck, mate. Lady luck.
And I think it's going to be playing some parts here in the feature as well, as we bring Tanner Pettit in for a chat. Guaranteed pole position start from winning your heat, Tanner. But this track has a reputation for a lot of cautions, so I think there's going to be a lot of management for you to do out front.
Yeah, no doubt. Just hoping to get a good start here and take it one lap at a time and see how we do.
Brilliant. Is there anything else that you're expecting here from this race? You've got some pretty close competition. Gowans, Ryan, Kelly Carmen, your countryman Aiden Forster, also in the top 5. It's going to be quite tight up the top.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's just going to be about setting a good pace, and whether we catch lap traffic or yellows and nailing the restarts and stuff like that. So hopefully do a good job and try to just nail all of our marks here.
Excellent. Well, best of luck, Tanner. We'll let you get back to your preparations. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And that is going to secure your starting order for the A main tonight here at Huset Speedway. Scott, it's an absolutely stacked top 10, and I don't know if I can pick a clear winner out of this.
No, I think, obviously it's going to be difficult to pass. I think that's what everyone's saying. So just having control over the field is going to be strong. Tanner Pettit, and the other thing is you've got to remember this track's going to get a little bit run in. It's not going to be a stone cold reset to 0%. We are going to get an opportunity to get some progression on that racetrack, and the drivers will be instructed out there onto the racetrack to wear it in a little bit. But Tanner Pettit's got a huge advantage. Showing a clean pair of heels. The biggest thing about being out at the front of the field is you're not trying to overtake guys, and just having that clean track. We saw how many times 2nd row was where all the chaos unfolded in the heats, in the B main and the C main. So, I think it obviously just gives him so much of a big advantage on a short racetrack. Gowans is just going to slot in. That has got to be his biggest focus. And to me, I'm most worried about the guy on his inside. Tim Ryan is known for raw aggression. He's known to get the elbows out. Keep your eyes on that 98 machine. Can he go back to back? That'll be a big challenge, but if he does it, that's the first big statement of the year.
You know what else Tim Ryan is known for? Sticking to the low line like a limpet. It's what helped him get the victory at Volusia last round, sorry. And I'm expecting him to try and do the same thing here, but with a clean track to start off the feature, at least a slightly worn in one. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. There's going to be a lot of jostling about in those early laps, and the leaders are going to come up on lap traffic quite quickly, I'd imagine. We are now in the warm-up after the Australian Speedway results redraw, and it's worked out very nicely for Tanner Pettit. He wasn't even up for the redraw. He was guaranteed that pole. Drivers are working the track in now. Only a couple of laps here to just get some kind of groove going, but track evolution is going to be a major talking point today, and if we get a long green flag run, I reckon that's going to bring things into consideration as well. I remember you were talking last round, Scott, about how the track working under caution periods, the drivers need to be careful about where they run under caution as well.
Yeah, they will. So just naturally, look, at the end of the day, it's simulation, and we try and get it as much close to possible as we can real world. We've had some brilliant upgrades in the last couple of years since we've been you've been working on this series a long time, but since I've been invited to come and be a part, be your broadcasting partner, the dirt side of this has got some huge innovation. One of the things it still lacks, and it's one of the things that the drivers still have to, we have to touch on it. It's out there, it's a part of the racing product that we're putting on. Under caution, the track does just get torn up just a little bit more. For some reason, whatever the interaction is with the tyres, when they're a little bit slowed down, they pick up more dirt, they move it around the track a lot quicker. So what you'll see is the slick line will develop significantly quicker under caution. So just keep your eyes out for that. Something to be aware of. Like I said, these guys have to drive around it. They're aware that it will happen. It's something they're already planned for. It's already they're working on. But I do want to say, good opportunity before we jump into this A main. Big shout out to all the sponsors that get things done here tonight before we do get into that A main. The hot laps in practice proudly brought to us by MBS 3D Printed RC and Slot Car Customs. Qualifying on behalf of SimRat Market. They've been a huge supporter of the series over the last couple of years. Mono created for the heats. C main, Wimmera Dry Cleaners step on board for this season. Big shout out to our primary sponsor for tonight, McSlide Race. They brought us the B main. Like you said, the Australian Speedway results dash and redraw. And this one is also a McSlide Race A main. This is the feature. That's your 24 drivers. Tanner Pettit from the pole had to go the long way. Fourth in the heat, qualified on the front row because he won that heat though. So heat 5, the only heat of the night to get that guaranteed lock-in spot.
Yes, Pettit will be joined on the front row by Matthew Gowans, with Tim Ryan and Kelly Carman on row 2. Aidan Forster has Dan Grimshaw for company on row number 3. Then it's Van der Wacker and O'Neill, 7th and 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Davies and Walker. Harry Stewart, who was the My Race Matt's hard charger from last round, will start P11. He's got Bradley Oldfield for company on row 6. Kobe Noonan and Paul Bryan are row 7. Then Darcy Wilson and Matthew Stables starting a bit further back in the field than they would ideally like. Nick Mithen and Easton Bastion, along with Lachlan Mead and Paul Ward rounding out your top 20. Then Joel Berkeley and Zach Rattray-White starting a long way back after winning and finishing second place in the B main. Hutchison and Ethan Foley will get the final 2 spots on the starting grid, and Foley just managing to scrape in with that fantastic drive in the B main. Oh boy, here we go. Sprint cars at Huset. This is going to be a tough one, Scott. It's a tight track, a short track, and 24 cars taking to the start. Traffic's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, it will. So get yourself in. And what you're seeing at the moment is everyone shuffling themselves to their correct orders at the moment. So just like we said, we've got to get that field shorted. And they're just about set and ready to roll. So we will do one more lap on a pacing here, and then we're off for the McSlide Race feature. The Brawl at Huset. This one is tough. It's technical. The biggest engines we've got on board sprint cars. And we're going to let them loose around one of the shortest tracks. Little bit of slick starting to form probably about 3/4 of the way up the track. You can just see that slick line just a little bit torn up. It's mostly all together. First 10 laps, you're going to see that widen out, and then the bottom will start to go away as well. But both lanes will have an opportunity. Early running race, get to the bottom if you can.
Yes, but there's only so much space on the bottom, and you've got 23 other drivers who want to get down there as well. Now the run to the green flag. The pace truck is already pulling into pit lane as we speak, and Tanner Pettit will take the start here. Let those engines loose. And across the line we come to start the race here at Huset. And Pettit gets off to a pretty clean start. Tim Ryan trying to protect second place. He's immediately moved up to the very top. He's going for momentum early on, and he's managed to clear Aidan Forster and Matthew Gowans for now, as the rest of the field struggle to find their spot. Caution out already on the second lap.
And I think there was somebody's wing who just got thrown over the fence as well. There's car number 16 with the issues down and on the inside of our feature for the first time tonight. And unfortunately, Lachlan Mead has made it out of the heats, but he will be moving to pit lane to take the backup car. Oh, he can feel it. He's got no turn.
Yeah, that's completely destroyed the suspension. It was contact with Joel Berkeley coming out of turn 4. You're going to see it here. They were coming together a bit on this lap. Berkeley trying to advance forward, but bumping him wide, and that's heavy contact there on the SimRat Market replay with the pit wall. Concrete is not a very forgiving substance.
No, dirt tends to be a lot softer. Ask me how I know. Motocross, mate. I once had an incident actually where I slid a very, very long way on an oil track, and that's a throwback for anyone that remembers tracks with pressed in oil. You just slide. It's worse than asphalt because you just keep going. Asphalt pulls you up a little bit. You sort of a little bit of grit and stuff. On oil, you don't actually pull up. So, dirt, hell of a lot softer. You do not slide. So, yeah, a lot softer than asphalt for sure. Have a look at that outside wall, though. Remember how tall it is right now, because it's going to feel shorter in about 10 laps' time as that cushion starts to get built up.
Yeah, these tires, huge rear tires on sprint cars, and the amount of power going through them, the fact that you are sliding the whole way around the lap, there's a lot of clay and dirt that gets thrown up onto those walls. They will be sinking ever lower beneath the line there as the restart is on here. Don't forget, caution laps do not count under caution in Speedway racing. Tim Ryan has lost touch with the lead, and he got into the wall ever so slightly coming out of turn 2. The run is happening from Aiden Forster as it's a USA 1-2 at the front of the field.
Yeah, they're going to start trying to take it away. Second caution of the night. Car up and over, and ejecto front wheelo. Who is that? Went for one of the wildest rides I've ever seen. Oh, good thing they're back on it.
That they are. It's Riley Hutchison, who has had some pretty major damage there, and it looks like he may have to tow back to pit lane and end his night. Remember that the pit lane is open for the first 15 laps of the race here, so you can come in for repairs. That's how it happened again. Joel Berkeley at the center of that incident.
Now, the problem is you kind of don't really have brakes on these things. You sort of pull them up by sliding them a little bit. You roll off the throttle. That's about all you got. Occasionally, they'll attach a brake, and they'll attach it at one side as well. They won't attach it all the way across the car, and the reason they do that, more turn, basically by touching the brake pedal. If you attach it to the inside wheels but not the outside wheels, slow down the inside wheels, the outside wheels will continue to rip. But yeah, generally quite difficult to pull these cars up quickly. I think we've gone to a single file restart because of back-to-back incidents. Huset's definitely expecting a few more issues than we were last week. That much is for certain. Very, very short cautions here, short racetrack, so a lot of opportunity.
Yes, there were, as we pointed out earlier in the show, 5 cautions at Huset Speedway in last year's ODSE Australian Sprint Car Championships. We are now 2 cautions in, and we are only on lap 4, so it's going to be quite difficult to get a good green flag run going, I believe. Not going green for the moment, so we have a little bit more time here to go through those stats from previously. As you can see down the bottom, 5 cautions over 40 laps. Blake Walsh, unfortunately, not here today. Joel Berkeley finished second at the feature last year, only by 0.005 of a second. He is struggling to make his way up the field, though. He's been on the scene of both incidents that started the cautions here.
Yep, Tim Ryan's lost a spot under that last green flag run, slid back to 4th as well. He was right there. Gowans has got speed on the early restarts. We'll be back to green. Here it goes from the 24 at Tanner Pettit.
Nice start, and he's immediately down to the low line. Everyone trying their best to join him. There's a few drivers ripping the top further back in the field. It looks to me like Darcy Walker trying it out, Paul Bryan as well, just trying to get some momentum up to get up the inside or the outside for that matter and make those moves. The battle's going on further towards the front. Tim Ryan is trying his best to stay in line here, but he's looking a little unsettled, is the winner of our previous feature, and our 2 Americans are together. It looks like Aiden Forster has gotten up the inside of Tanner Pettit and to the lead under lots of pressure from Matthew Gowans, who gets amongst it.
Yeah, 2 Americans at the moment, but how about Gowans? An opportunity for the number 8 driver to really start to mount some pressure for these guys. He is certainly applying that at the moment as well. For Matthew Gowans, he's trying to get down the inside of Tanner Pettit at the moment. So the line shifted about half a groove off at the bottom now. It's moved up to more of a middle. He makes that transmission up to the middle of the racetrack at this point in time, but opens the door for Tim Ryan. What it does do, though, is give Kelly Carmen an opportunity to slide that one through. Auto moves 33 on the auto move.
Excellent job. And yeah, you're right. It looks like getting down onto that slick, the car over-rotates in the mid-corner. That's what happened to Tim Ryan and to Matthew Gowans. And they've lost touch with the two Americans at the front of the field for the moment. Solid green flag run going now, but how long is it going to be before we see our next caution? Let's not speak it into existence for now. Keep an eye on the battle for 12th spot. Darcy Walker in the midst of all of this. Bradley Oldfield having to give way to Paul Bryan on the inside, but the outside line is working a lot better in these middle stages.
Oh no, just ahead of these guys. Caution's going to come out. It was for Dan Grimshaw, I think. There was another car I think might have been slow, but Grimshaw was making some issues on the high side. Something's happened to Stables. And is that the 27 machine? That's not Noonan, so that's the other one. Paul Ward is going to jump to pit lane. And he is going to grab a fresh car by the sounds of things. Not quite done. Lap 14, shortest racetracks. 15 laps you're allowed to get in here and use the fast repair. So he gets saved by the bell.
Oh! Okay, so looks like Hutchison was the car spinning around there, and Paul Ward just collected him. That's far from ideal, but like you say, it is the 15th lap of the race at the moment, and so the very last opportunity for drivers to get into the pits and get a fresh car. Once we go green, that's going to be day done for you if you have a crash. This is what happened to the number 2, just over-rotating it there, and Paul Ward comes in nowhere to go.
Yeah, and the best thing he can try and do is, of course, get that car back up to speed. He needs to clear there being any sort of an incident. So he's just trying to just get back on the power and get that thing fired back off again. Unfortunately for Paul Ward, nowhere really to go. Backup race car used back in this one. And at least some opportunity from the front end of town is what he's looking for at the moment. I think we'll be back to green flag at the end of this one. Yeah, lights are off on the pace track. So it's going to be back up to the pointy end of this one, and the big checkup's actually in the back end of the field under pacing here, but Aiden Forster from Tanner Pettit, Matty Gowans, Kelly Carmen, Tim Ryan. Ryan's got some work to do if he wants to hang on to the points lead after this one.
Indeed. It looks like Kelly Carmen is an early contender for the Hard Charger Award, starting from 17th in this one. Green flag flies once more, and Aiden Forster leads us away. This time, the leaders don't get away quite as well. At least that's the case for Tanner Pettit, as the caution is back out again. Something's happened at the rear of the field.
And is that 4 cautions so far? I think it is. So one more, and we're at last season's point, but we're not even halfway through this one yet. So it might be a new record on that side of things. Couple little shake-ups up and down the field. Opportunities.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Darcy Walker apparently is the car that caused this. Got the 51 of Oldfield behind. Bit of a check up ahead. Yeah, not much you could do there.
Yeah, front wing off that. Top wing off that. And, right. Yeah, opportunity. But the thing is, like, it's Huset, it's tight, it's narrow, there's a little bit of banking up at the top, and, you know, guys are going to look up to run up the fence. The big thing for the viewers watching along at home, if you're not in this stuff, you're not doing laps in and amongst this sort of series, it is difficult. It is really, really tricky, because what starts to happen is that dirt gets moved around. That leaves a hollow. You move dirt out of the way, what happens when you move it with your shovel? You get a hollow. You've got a hole, then you've got to go back and fill. Well, these race cars have got to turn and bite into those hollows. You manage it with the steering wheel, you manage it with the throttle pedal, but sometimes it's just a little bit of luck. Where that car bounces and positions itself, you got to try and rip the fence, because that's where the pace is, that's where the speed is. You've also got guys setting slide jobs at you. That's how you get moves done. You definitely can line it up on the bottom. Right now, that track is slicking up. The very bottom of the racetrack, there's a little bit at the bottom you can find some drive off, and all the way at the fence. In the middle is no man's land.
Yeah, so you're either extreme top or extreme bottom at this stage. Which is our leader going to choose here, as Forster leads us away for yet another restart here. Hopefully we get another good green flag run going, because we are almost at the halfway point of the A-main at Huset. Aiden Forster holding on nicely, but Tanner Pettit is edging ever closer to him on entry. It's getting super close here between Tim Ryan and Kelly Carmen. And correction from before, Carmen actually started in P4, my apologies. So we'll see what he can do to hold off the likes of Tim Ryan. It's been a solid run from Kelly Carmen here today. Keeping an eye on drivers further back in the field. I'm not too sure where Foley is, but oh dear,
Stables.
That's Matthew Stables that's gone out.
Yeah, up and over, unfortunately for him. Up, over, and out of here. Another car that's actually going to drop out of this one as well. So either way, we'll get ourselves another opportunity to have a look at this one from Matthew Stables. This is what I'm talking about. This is the risk versus reward. Right up and against the fence. Is he just going to clip it on the exit? No, it's actually pretty okay. There, through 1 and 2. And you can see Rattray White's on the bottom. Oh, he shuts the door. There was a car there. Yeah, up and over. So that's nothing. That's not on Stables. That is on Rattray White coming up and trying to fill that hole. And there was an opportunity to close that door probably half a second before. And then by the time he gets up there, that hole has been filled, and that's really the problem. Is it's quick and it's fast. You just got to slide it straight up there and be aggressive with it.
Yeah, that you do. And it's also worth pointing out, as Rattray White is given an end-of-line penalty for his part in that incident, sprint cars do not have mirrors, and even in the sim, you cannot activate the virtual mirror to see who's behind you. Well, we'll be seeing then this restart go, and Kelly Carmen already under lots of pressure from Tim Ryan, but he is the one putting the pressure on Gowans for the moment as they try to make their way through. Tanner Pettit maintaining that third place as Harry Stewart and Dan Grimshaw battle, and Clayton Davies has fallen down a couple of places now thanks to some poor runs there. Wheelie from Stewart, and he's going to come right back into it here with Bradley Oldfield. Gently does it on your way into the corners. He cuts him off.
Yeah, lots of jostling, and this is the problem. This is where it's all been triggered by. Berkeley's going to be back down to the inside as he tries to cut his way through. That's Kobe Noonan up and on the outside of the 42 machine of Paul Bryan trying to find some speed. Berkeley is doing whatever he possibly can. If someone makes a mistake on that outside, he will get the way through. Bryan forced against the fence. Bryan's the guy who makes a mistake. Berkeley slides it back in. That's what we're talking about. Look at the dust. The racetrack is starting to really dry out. It's cooking. It's baking. And the reason for that is the heat is getting turned up at Husets.
To the inside goes Kelly Carmen to try and get P3 off Matthew Gowans, and he managed to just get it in time for the next caution to come out. Who's that on their roof? Looks like it might be Darcy Wilson. Oh no! That's far from ideal there. No wings on the car, and the frame is looking rather bent. So Darcy Wilson now out of this one.
Somebody crack open a couple of cans of Red Bull for that man. He needs some wings. That's the only way they'll be getting that car back out and onto the racetrack. The Americans are dominating here tonight, as they should be. All the tracks on the dirt side of things in America. Here comes the 5. Whoa! Who is the car around ahead of him? And Darcy
Dan Grimshaw
Wilson just finds himself a ramp off of Dan Grimshaw.
Yeah, Grimshaw got into the wall in turn 3. He was trying to go around the outside of Harry Stewart and Kobe Noonan. You'll see him just get into the concrete there. That ruins his momentum. Then he hits the wall again, and it looks like maybe contact off one of the cars coming through. That's massive.
Yeah, a lot of cars caught up. We're going to be going back to green. Shortened cautions now as we're trying to fire through this one. Here we go. Back in the hands of Aiden Forster. Launches it off a 4 on board car number 20. And then Tanner Pettit is going to be right in behind him. And this time it's going to be Gowans. He's got a better restart. Garmin didn't quite get back to the timing line to earn that one. He made the pass on track. He's going to have to do it again. And here comes Mr. 98, Mr. Inaugural Sprint Car Champion on iRacing. Tim Ryan throws it to the inside. But there's a car there on the fence. He cannot complete the slider. Oh, Ryan's in the fence.
Oh, yep, and that's going to give half an opportunity to Vanderwacker. Clayton Davies might go through as well, falling down the order as well as Rusty O'Neill falls behind Oldfield and Stewart. They're 4 wide briefly, coming out of turn 2. And Berkeley, once again on the scene of an accident, but didn't cause it that time. Whew, how they all managed to get through there, still rolling, I have no idea. Now, I'm seeing interesting. Aiden Forster is starting to go back to the low line in 3 and 4.
Riley Hutchison just threw a massive slider on Joel Berkeley in the middle of the field. This little battle pack right here is where it's all starting to come unstuck. Rusty O'Neill's up and against the fence in the 11. The 51 machine of Oldfield right here as well. Here comes the big one. Clayton Davies gets center slider on him. Cries to manage to block. Does manage to get the block. Oldfield, he's not going to be friends with him after the race after that slider. It was aggressive from the lot of them, but it's three guys throwing down, throwing punches, left, right, center. Elbows being thrown. Finally, O'Neill goes around.
And that's going to bring the caution back out for, I've lost count of the cautions now, frankly. 7. All right, well, we've broken the record. Unfortunately for Rusty O'Neill, he went in a bit hot into turn 1 and got into the rear end of Oldfield. And unfortunately, the weight transfer was not Rusty O'Neill's friend here.
Nope. Little bit of a mistake, unfortunately, from him. Little bit too hot. You can just see it, just the slightest of tap. Takes the weight off the nose, and the rear end's wound up at that point, and so around she comes.
Well, another casualty. Goodness me, Scott. We're only going to have 7 laps to go when we cross the line next. It's an absolute sprint.
Yeah, that it will be. And 002, I'm hearing there's connection issues. Unfortunately for Riley Hutchison, he's in and out of the server at this point in time. So he is going to have to, he's just been informed by the admins, he's got to drop to the low line and go to the rear.
Well, that's going to be tough.
Hang on. He's stabilized, connection stabilized. So we're just waiting, So admin are trying to handle that one at the moment. That's the problem, isn't it? Things are going bad for him. There's been a few issues for Riley Hutchison, and the problem is, you guys have seen how quick this racing happens. The problem is, safety has to be a primary concern. There is no opportunity to check up. And they're just clarifying once more, Hutchison has been sent to the rear for connection difficulties. 8 to go.
Here we go then. The USA 1-2 continues at the front as Aiden Forster leads us away back under green at Huset's, and Tanner Pettit is trying to build that momentum now. Try and grab the win off the number 20. But behind them, Matthew Gowans and Tim Ryan. They got Kelly Carmen for company. Ryan to the inside of Gowans, up into P3, and just in time for the next caution to come out. We're up to 8 cautions now, and this time, it looks like Zach Rattray-White might have been the one at the center of it.
And I tell you what, Matty Gowans has been the biggest winner out of all of these cautions. The last couple cautions that have come out, Tim Ryan sent a massive slide job on him, and the caution flag flew before they could get to a time in line to complete the pass. There's Rattray-White. I think that's 26 machine of Noonan up and in the fence, unfortunately for him. But yeah, Gowans got a slider sent on him, and the pass was done from Tim Ryan. Yellow flag comes out, they have to reset. So Matty Gowans would just like to thank all the officials in attendance tonight, because they've waved that yellow flag exactly as it... Whoa!
Yeah.
Noonan up and over.
Pretty massive. Fed the right rear to the wall just where it juts out, and he was absolutely two-wheeling it across the top of the racetrack for a few moments there. Quite a big hit, and Zach Rattray-White could do nothing to avoid that. He'd already committed to the exit. It's fast. It's difficult to avoid incidents. Huset's was always going to be a bit of a scrapyard by the end of this, but we got some clean cars up the front to make it 5 laps to go here. Maybe this will be the final restart. Once again, Matthew Gowans on the attack. He knows how quickly these cautions come out, and he might have just secured second place there off Tanner Pettit. Great move up the inside, but now Tim Ryan comes in, and the caution's out. Gowans has won off a caution again.
Somebody double check Matthew Gowans' credit card. There might be a few transactions to the officials with the way this one's going. Getting a little bit lucky is Matty Gowans. Absolutely sent it on Tanner Pettit. Tim Ryan was just waiting to pounce on this one. Getting word might be Harry Stewart, who's been involved in the most recent one. We are thinning out the field. I can tell you, we've only got about 11 race cars left out on the track tonight at the 24 we started. And, yep, up over, wing off, and out of here. But
no front wing already for Harry Stewart before that incident.
Tim Ryan, is that you reckon that's a little bit of psychological warfare from the 98 machine? Just showing the 24, that's where I'm going. I'm going to your inside, turn 1. Just be aware. I'm sending it.
Don't show your hand too early.
Or double bluff. Double bluff, Reese. Who doesn't love a double bluff? A fake.
Yeah, indeed. Tim Ryan's no stranger to throwing fakies every so often. This will be 3 laps to go then. As we come off of this caution, Aiden Forster with the luxury of getting on the power whenever he wants in the restart zone. Matthew Gowans is going to stick tight to the bottom there to try and keep Tanner Pettit behind. Tim Ryan working the middle and high line, but is Kelly Carmen well positioned on the inside here? Coming up now to 1 lap remaining at Huset. That's a good run from Tim Ryan, and there's contact with Tanner Pettit. He gets into the wall. We stay green, but Pettit has fallen to the back end of the top 10 as a result. White flag is out for Aiden Forster as we find our way through to the checkered flag. A brilliant drive from the number 20. He'll take the win, and Matthew Gowans just defends P2 from Tim Ryan.
I think there'll be a little bit of debate from Tim Ryan and Tanner Pettit. They may not necessarily get on too well after that one, but the only thing that matters is Aiden Forster, car number 20, wins the Huset Brawl. Pole position, led just about every lap of the race. Sorry, my apologies, Tanner Pettit with the pole position. I've got those two mixed up. Car number 20 gets it done from Huset, and he gets the celebratory donuts done on the front straight away. Forster got the job done in the middle of the race, hung on to that one, and just about dominated once he got the lead. Never, ever looked back. Teammate, unfortunately, Tanner Pettit looked a little bit weak at times, got himself out of the groove. Matty Gowans will sneak through for P number 2. He will be happy with that one. That will be a huge result for car number 8.
Absolutely will be. He'll take those points no problem for second place out of round 2. So our final results then, we'll see Matthew Gowans finish second behind Aiden Forster in the end, and Tim Ryan will round out the podium. But it's all going to depend on Race Control's decision on the incident between Ryan and Pettit. It looked like Netcode might have been involved from my perspective, but obviously Race Control will analyze that. Kelly Carmen and Nathan Vanderwacker, regardless, top 5s out of this. Some solid results from those two. Bradley Oldfield working his way up into 6th place. Joel Berkeley managing to finish P7 after starting further back in the field. Clayton Davies, Tanner Pettit, and Paul Bryan will round out your top 10.
Outside the 10, number 54 of Ethan Bastian from Harry Stewart, unfortunately involved in that one, not making the checkered flag. Nick Mithen from Paul Ward back to 14th and 15th. Kobe Noonan in car 26. 17 of the Rattray White. Riley Hutchison, issues unfortunately for him. Rusty O'Neill got up and into those barriers as well. Darcy Wilson, Dan Grimshaw in the 20th spot in car 75.
And we're into retirement territory now as we go through our final few cars. Matthew Stables, Darcy Walker, and Lachlan Mead not making it to the finish. And Ethan Foley, unfortunately, didn't even take the start, it seems, which is a real shame. It was a tight fight, a very tough job for him to get into the feature in the first place. So to have no result from that, that's going to be a big blow early on. Regardless, we have got a few drivers to talk to coming out of this one. First off, our winner, Aiden Forster. And it's been a pretty good start to the season for Tanner Pettit Racing with a double podium last time out at Volusia. Now, Aiden, you've managed to give them the win. It was all about holding on between those caution periods.
Yeah, we had an awesome car once again this week, and it was really nice starting up front there. And had a good spot to see where we stood up this week. Didn't have to drive to the field, and yeah, pretty cool to get a win with these guys. First year running this full time, so yeah, hopefully we can keep the wins coming. Can't thank Tanner enough for all the work he's done for me to get me here, and yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, certainly big points to start off the season. Looking at the schedule, round 3 is going to be Williams Grove. We're going to Pennsylvania for the first time this season. What are your thoughts coming into that place? And it's a very short turnaround between the rounds as well.
Yes, very confident in there. Tanner's going to be really good there too. Davey's going to be really good there too, the TPR guys. So we're really good around there, have good confidence in our speed there. And yeah, hopefully we'll be back there and in the same spot.
Well, the floor is yours, Mr. Forster. Is there anyone you want to thank for your result today?
Yeah, first of all, can't thank you guys enough for putting on an awesome stream for us to watch afterwards and people to watch live. And also can't thank Tanner Pettit enough at TPR. He's done a lot of work to get us TPR guys up front, and can't thank him enough
Can't thank GP Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, Aces Up Sim Sport, C Cinematography, Trackside Collective, and just everybody that has a part in our team. It's greatly appreciated, and yeah, hopefully we can keep these wins coming through.
Crazy good drive today from Aiden Forster. The American will stand on top in America here at Huset's. Now, Scott Rankin's had a chance to catch up with Matthew Gowans, who was the master of the restarts.
Yeah, Matty, a little bit of luck here tonight. A couple times you got the pass done and the yellow flag comes out. A couple times guys got past you, didn't get to a timing line. Hey, mate, that's racing. But you had a car that was in that top 4 all night long. You just look like you had that number 8 hooked up here at Huset's.
Yes, the luck was on my side, that server, that was for sure. It was I was just talking to Tim there, and when he passed me, I had to give the spot. He had to give the spot back to me, and then a few times, as you said, I'd pass someone, but I got to hold the spot on a yellow, and so it was just luck. But starting up the front obviously helps tremendously, and such a strong field. Lads are going to be coming through the field, and it's just trying to hang in there and hold your momentum and concentrate and just not overdrive it.
Look, I think the big thing is everyone says when we get to Huset's track surface, she's narrow, track surface is challenging. That groove slicked off real quick. The line got up near the fence. That is challenging. I think the big thing is the best in the world struggle to keep that car turning on the fence consistently. And the line changes every single race. Like, all of the road course guys, they come across, they try and watch sprint cars, and they just go, mate, all we're trying to do is be consistent, do exactly the same thing every lap. This is a dirt track. That track moves all night long, and it is some of the most challenging stuff to stay consistent.
Yes, it's a rocket on dirt, that is for sure, and it's all throttle control. And as that top line just went off, and all of a sudden the leaders went to the bottom, and I obviously followed, and then I hit the bottom nicely in one, and I got Tanner there, but I wasn't sure where to go in 3 and 4 to be honest. So I just kind of ran the bottom, and I was just lighting it up on the exit, spinning me wheels all the way down the straight. I was spinning, and I was just hoping that I didn't know at the time, but Tim was behind me, and I was just hoping that third was doing the same.
I think the big thing is, again, we've already mentioned the challenge level of not just running the racetrack and the line moves every single lap. Talk to us a little bit about the experience level that goes into reading these racetracks, because this is something that you guys work on for a long, long period of time. And then we get a massive overhaul, and you don't reset from scratch, but a lot of that experience goes out the window, and you've got to do it, and you've got to line up, and you've got to be quick again and apply those talents. It's scanning that racetrack, looking for any advantage that you can find over somebody else.
Yeah, well, you get to know the racetracks, and, like in the heats there, it's going to be bottom, and until it just goes off that little bit, and then it'll just go kind of the middle, you're hugging the slick a bit, and it'll keep drifting up. And it stayed that way through the features and that, and then it got to the point where that top kind of was a bit slower. And if you're, I wasn't leading, but if you're leading, sometimes you don't want to change your line, because you might lose a spot or two because you chose the incorrect line, so it's a hard one. And kudos to Aiden, he found it and he held his position. But sometimes you say to yourself, okay, I'll settle for this position I'm running now, or, I'll try something different and have a go. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you can go backwards. So it is hard, it's tricky. But, I just kind of focus on what the guys ahead of me and doing, and just use your visual, see if you're gaining on them, alter your line slightly. And yeah, but I don't search too much crazily, because it's very hard to find something that the others haven't.
Mate, finally, let us know who gets it done for you. Number 8 and Old Man Racing.
Thank you. And cheers to the lads at Old Man Racing, Dan, Weston and Dunny. And thank you lads for streaming it. And thanks for Brady putting it on. Pity Brady didn't get to race, but once again, luck was on my side there. So I got to move up because he had to admin. So luck was there tonight. Hopefully it's there next week too.
Ladies and gentlemen, driver of car number 8 gets it done in P2, Matty Gowans. Thank you very much for your time, Matty.
Thank you.
What am I?
Excellent stuff. Yep. And Tim Ryan sending his congratulations as well as he joins us in the comms box. P3 for you, Tim. It was a tough fight for sure. And the contact between yourself and Tanner Pettit near the end, I've seen that you guys were already discussing that. And it seems like there's no hatchet to bury between you two. It was just bad luck.
Yeah, it's really hard for them. Obviously competing with their large ping. So there was a bit of netcode between his rear bar and my front bar, which sent him up onto the wall. So that was really unfortunate for him, to be honest. It was not a bad race. Fell back early with some poor driving choices. Then got past Kelly, then the yellow come out. Then got past Gowans, the yellow come out. So probably had a shot if a few other things went my way with the green flag racing, but Aiden deserved it tonight. He qualified pole and then come from 5th, so that was a really good drive.
Yeah, it was fantastic for you to back up your win in the A-Main last time out at Volusia, to still finish on the podium in round 2. Solid start to the season. And now I guess it's just going to be about making sure that the points total is as high as possible for coming into next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, thanks to Brady. He had to step in with race control out tonight. So without him, this obviously wouldn't have gone ahead tonight. So thanks, Brady. And yeah, looking forward to Williams Grove. That's a tough track. It'll be very interesting to see how we go.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of big sends, Tim. Is there anyone else you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank, as I said, you guys are putting on the great broadcast. Brady, Aiden, well done, the win, mate. And Gowans as well, P2, great effort.
Podium in round 2 for Tim Ryan. Can he be a title contender? We'll have to wait and see on that front. That's going to conclude our driver interviews, and it's time for us to get into the end stage of this show, Scott. I think the first we're going to be looking at is how our Speedway draft totals are looking. I remember I was leading. I made some pretty good choices. Jay Kennedy is not feeling optimistic about how he's gone, but we're about to see the graphic pop up on screen now. That was what it was before we started, and now, just loading it up. Oh, I'm waiting with bated breath here, Scott.
Well, I've got more info for that. We've been digging through some data, and I can actually tell you, Jay's child, Harrison, has actually managed to take 2nd place for the week. In terms of your team mains that have managed to get it done, ladies and gentlemen, so far, I can inform you that Evolution Sim Sports, if your team name is Evolution Sim Sports, took the win in terms of points overall tonight. HRN Kennedy Motorsports gets it done in P2, and the Red Snail gets P3 in terms of points. 2305 to 2074. Is 1st to 2nd place, by the way, and there was a 1-point differential between 2nd and 3rd. Reese, you have gone 2K points back-to-back weeks. I've managed to pick up some points, but Reese is 4th place overall after 2 weeks of the speedwaydraft.com, mate. Look, I think you might have to give up driving digital race cars and keep picking digital race car drivers.
Yeah, maybe I should become a betting man. I never really was one. I was not anticipating to double my points total, but turns out picking Matthew Gowans was a fantastic choice for me. Yep, that was the secret indeed. Well, you can head on to speedwaydraft.com to put your teams together for the next round of the championship. These are the next 7 rounds of the series. Williams Grove happening on the 15th of April, and then we'll be going through to the other Australian Sim Racing Group series, the Moser Porsche Pro Invitational, the Logitech GV8 Pro Invitational. They're going to be happening on the 22nd and 29th of April next up, before we go live for round 4 of the sprint cars at Kokomo at the start of May. So we're going to be going from quite a big track once again in Williams Grove to another very short one at Kokomo, Scott. We're really bouncing between the track types here.
Yeah, but how good is this as well? This is the big thing that I really, really love about this. And everyone who's joining us from the dirt side of things, welcome. This is the full calendar of stuff. We want to lock out your Wednesday night in the Australian Sim Racing Group Sim Speed platforms as well, ladies and gents. So like we said, Williams Grove next week and Kokomo. That's what we've got coming our way. I get behind the driver's seat race on April 22nd from the Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Love me some Porsche Cup stuff. That's when I actually get to do some driving. V8 Pro coming our way from Road Atlanta. And that one's a sprint round as well. So we'll get a couple different races races in on board that one. That is where I'll next be behind the steering wheel. But yeah, like you said, Williams Grove next week. I love the fact that I can just show up on a Wednesday night. I know I've got something on. I'm either commentating or I'm behind the wheel of a race car. There is 2 options on a Wednesday night. I'm either yelling into a microphone or yelling from behind a steering wheel. Either one is going to be yelling for sure.
Yes, brilliant, and wishing you the best of luck for your Porsche exploits, Nick, in a couple of weeks' time, Scott. But of course, we'll be back on in 7 days' time from 8 p.m. Australian Eastern. Williams Grove Speedway will play host to the next round of the Australian Sim Racing Group Sprintcar Pro Invitational Series. Super long straights, historic track, tight corners. There's going to be a lot of big sends here, and it's a super wide circuit as well. So we are guaranteed to have some magnificent racing when we go down to the Grove for the first time we visit Pennsylvania this season. Big thanks, everybody, for tuning in across our various platforms, whether you come from YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Kick. Thanks very much for riding along with us here today, and we hope you can join us for next week's round at Williams Grove. A big thanks to all of the partners, sponsors, and supporters of this series, in particular McSlide Race, for sponsoring the South Dakota Brawl Round 2 of the Sprintcar Pro Invitational. I'm Reese Gardner, Scott Rankin alongside me in the commentary box, and Jay Kennedy behind the scenes here on SimSpeed TV. See you next week.
Experience the world's most legendary racing events with iRacing. iRacing special events allow any member to compete in full-length multiplayer races based on some of the biggest events in motorsports all year round. Compete in virtual endurance races, such as the Daytona 24, Spa 24, and the Nürburgring 24 Hours. Take on some of the toughest races on the NASCAR schedule, such as the Daytona 500. We have events from disciplines all across the racing world, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Chili Bowl, from the Bathurst 1000 to the Crandon Championship. Our endurance special events utilize iRacing's team feature, where members can sign up and race together on their own team, swapping drivers throughout the race. Other events utilize iRacing Super Sessions, where you're not only racing against those on track, but against every driver taking part. And as every race progresses, watch and feel the track change with progressive time of day, dynamic weather and rain, and dynamic track debris and surface changes. Take on your favorite discipline or try a brand new racing challenge with our biggest races of the year, the iRacing Special Events. Learn more at iRacing.com/special-events.